Welcome to the third video in the series in which we're trying to solve the tagging penguins problem. We're trying to compare two proportions. In this video, we're going to look at how we would carry out a hands-on simulation-based approach. Once again, here's our problem statement. Are metal bands used for tagging harmful to penguins? In the study, reliability of flipper-banded penguins as indicators of climate change, researchers investigated if the metal bands used for tagging were harmful to penguins with a sample of 20 penguins near Antarctica. All of these penguins had already been tagged with a radio frequency identification chip, and the researchers randomly assigned 10 of them to receive a metal band on their flippers in addition to the RFID chip. The other 10 penguins did not receive a metal band. Researchers kept track of the penguins which survived for the 4.5-year study and which did not. The researchers found that 9 of 20 penguins survived, of whom 3 had a metal band and 6 did not. We're currently at step 4 in our 6-step process. We're learning how to draw inferences beyond the data. From the previous videos, we know that our parameters are the population proportion for the control group, which is the long-run proportion of penguins that survived the 4.5-year study that did not have a metal band. Our second parameter is the population proportion from the metal band group. This is the long-run proportion of penguins that survived the 4.5 years that did have a metal band. Our hypotheses are as follows. The null hypothesis is that there's no association between the survival rate of penguins and the metal bands. In other words, the metal band had no effect on the penguin survival. Symbolically, we would write that as the difference in proportion of the control group and the metal band group is equal to 0. And our alternative hypothesis is there is an association between the survival rates of penguins and the metal bands. Specifically, penguins are more likely to survive if they do not receive a metal band. Symbolically, we would write that as the difference in population proportion for the control group versus the metal band group would be greater than 0. Let's review the 3S strategy when using a simulation-based approach. The first S in the 3S strategy stands for statistic. This is when we will calculate our observed sample statistic from the data. The second S stands for simulation. This is when we're going to simulate the what-if scenario that assumes the null hypothesis is true. This is when we carry out the simulation to produce the null distribution. And the third S stands for strength of evidence. And this is when we use the sample statistic and the null distribution to find the proximate p-value. Remember, a p-value is the probability of obtaining a result at least as extreme as the one observed, assuming that there is no association between the variables. In other words, assuming the null hypothesis is true. So let's calculate the first S, which is the statistic. We need to calculate the observed sample statistic from the data. For a test comparing two proportions, the observed sample statistic is the difference between the observed conditional proportions. In the previous videos, we calculated the difference in conditional proportions of success. In other words, we calculated the difference in survival rates of penguins in the two different groups. So we took our sample proportion from the control group and subtracted the sample proportion in the metal band group. So we took 6/10 minus 3/10, and that gave us a difference of 0.3 or 3/10. This difference means that the proportion of penguins that survived without the metal band was 30 percentage points higher than the penguins with the metal band. The point of emphasis here is that when we do the simulation, the difference in our sample proportions, 0.3, that is going to be our observed sample statistic. We will use that value when we find our p-value during the strength of evidence portion, which is the third S in the 3S strategy. Now we're going to proceed to the second S in our 3S strategy. We're going to do a hands-on simulation. It's important to know how the simulation works so that we understand how the computer simulation will work. As usual, we will perform our simulation assuming that the null hypothesis is true. That means that we will assume that the metal band has no effect on penguin survival. That is the null hypothesis for this problem. More specifically, we will assume that the 9 penguins who survived would have done so with the metal band or not, and the 11 penguins who did not survive would have not survived with the metal band or not. Let me review what happened in the actual problem statement and then how it will be slightly modified while we carry out the simulation. So in the problem statement, we started off with 20 penguins. These 20 penguins were divided into 2 groups, the control group, which did not receive a metal band, and the treatment group, which did receive a metal band. The researchers followed these penguins for 4.5 years. At the end of the 4.5-year study, the researchers found that 9 of the penguins survived, of whom 3 had a metal band and 6 did not. So the researchers found that in the control group, 6 of those penguins survived the 4.5-year study and 4 did not. On my cards displayed on the screen, I've marked 6 of these penguins with survive, and I've also noted those as blue, and 4 of those penguins as deceased or did not survive, and I've color-coded those cards as green just to distinguish the 2 sets of penguins. In the treatment group, which was the group of penguins that received a metal band, 3 of the penguins survived, also color-coordinated blue in this scenario, and 7 did not survive, or they were deceased. And I'm color coordinating those penguins with green. This is what happened in the actual study. The penguins were divided into 2 groups, the control group and the treatment group. At the end of the study, the researchers measured how many survived and how many did not survive in each group. So for the duration of our simulation, we're going to assume that the metal band had no effect on the penguin survival. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the metal band now from the penguins. So we're going to assume during this simulation that the 9 penguins that survived would have survived regardless of the metal band. So I have marked those penguins as survived. I've also color-coded them with a blue card for this simulation. And we're going to assume that the other 11 penguins would have not survived. In other words, they would have been deceased regardless of the metal band. So I've marked those 11 penguins as deceased. And I've also color-coded them with a green card just to help us distinguish between survived and did not survive. Notice that none of these penguins have a metal band. That is because I'm assuming that the metal band did not affect the survival of penguins. In the simulation, our goal is to simulate that the random assignment of these penguins into the control and treatment groups did not impact survival. Let's see how the simulation works. Now let's learn how to carry out the hands-on simulation. If you're following along at home, I encourage you to do this just as I would students in my lecture class. We would take scissors and cut the penguin diagram into 20 separate cards. Mark 9 of the penguins as survived, which I've done in blue here. This represents the 9 penguins that would survive regardless of the metal band. Then mark 11 of the penguins as deceased or did not survive. This represents the 11 penguins that would not survive regardless of the metal band. I've color coordinated these penguins in green just to distinguish between the penguins that survive and did not survive. If you're doing this at home, you would have taken the 20 penguin cards, cut them up, marked 9 of the penguins as survive and 11 of the penguins as either did not survive or deceased. The next thing that we would do is we would turn all of the cards over and collect them into a single pile. Now we're going to shuffle the cards, and then we're going to deal the cards out one at a time into two piles. When you deal them into two piles, you are simulating the random assignment into two groups. So we're going to deal these cards into the simulated control group. This would be the group with no metal band. And then the simulated treatment group. This would be the group with the metal band. Remember, we're simulating that the metal band play no role in the penguin's survival. So which group the penguin is assigned to did not affect their survival. They would survive or not survive regardless of the metal band. Okay, we've shuffled our cards. Let's deal them into two groups. Now I have my simulated control group. This group of penguins did not receive a metal band. And my simulated treatment group, this group of penguins did receive the metal band. But remember, under this simulation, it played no part in their survival. If you're doing this at home, here's what it would look like. I shuffled my cards, I dealt them into two piles, and then I turned them over to see how many penguins in the simulated control group survived or did not survive, and how many penguins in the simulated treatment group survived and did not survive. Now we're going to calculate our results from the simulation. So in my simulated control group without the metal band, I had 4 penguins that survived and 6 penguins that did not survive. If you're doing this at home, you probably received different results. In my simulated treatment group, I had 5 penguins survive and 5 penguins not survive. And once again, you probably also had different results if you're following along at home. Just like we did with the real data, we're going to analyze our simulation results. The first step is to organize the simulation results into a contingency table. In my scenario, in the simulated control group, I had 4 penguins that survived and 6 that did not survive. In the simulated treatment group, the group with the metal band, I had 5 penguins that survived and 5 that did not survive. So notice we still had 10 penguins in each group, the simulated control group and the simulated treatment group. That's the same that was in the study. We also had 9 penguins in the simulation that survived and 11 penguins that did not survive, for 20 total. That matches actual data in the study. Now that we've organized the simulation results into a table, we're going to calculate the simulated observed proportion of success. The simulated proportion of success in the control group are the 4 penguins that survive out of the 10, or 0.4. The simulated conditional proportion in the metal band group is the 5 penguins that survive over the 10 total, or 0.5. Now I'm going to calculate the simulated observed difference in proportion of success. So the difference in our simulated conditional proportions, taking the proportion for the control group and subtracting off the proportion for the metal band group, we'll take 0.4 and subtract 0.5, and that gives me negative 0.1. If you remember, step number 1 in our simulation was to calculate our observed sample statistic. And essentially what we're doing is we're calculating our simulated difference in conditional proportions. Now we'll go and plot our simulation results. I came up with a difference of negative 0.1. If you're following along at home, you probably came up with something different. So I'm going to plot negative 0.1 on my axis of simulated difference in survival rates of penguins. This will eventually become the null distribution. Next step, we would repeat the simulation. Remember, the idea is that we repeat the simulation over and over and over again. So I would take my cards, turn them all over, collect them into a single pile, shuffle them, and once again, deal them into 2 different groups. So I've done the simulation a second time. In my simulated control group, this time I had 7 penguins that survived and 3 that did not. In my simulated treatment group, I had only 2 that survived and 8 that did not. So then I would repeat the process one more time. I would organize the simulation results into a table. In the simulated control group, I had 7 that survived, 3 did not, for 10 total. In the simulated treatment group, I had 2 that survived and 8 that did not, for 10 total. I would calculate the simulated observed proportion of success for each group. So for the control group, 7 out of 10 or 0.7. For the metal band group, 2 out of 10 or 0.2. And then calculate the simulated observed difference in proportions. So I would take 0.7 and subtract 0.2 to get 0.5. Then I would go back to my distribution and I would plot my new difference in simulated conditional proportions, which is 0.5. And then I would just keep repeating the simulation over and over and over again. So we repeat the simulation many times and we combined our results. So on the screen here, you're seeing one possible simulation. Just to show you what this would look like, here's an actual simulation results from one of my lecture classes. So in my lecture class, we run this exact simulation. Every student does it 2 or 3 times, and then we combine our results up on the board. And in the graph that you're seeing on the screen, the most common value for the simulated difference in survival rate are usually -0.1 and 0.1. So just keep in mind that when we do a simulation, there is a bit of randomness involved. Every simulation will be slightly different. If you're doing this at home, you would probably get different results than what I have on the screen. Let's use the simulation results on the screen to answer this next question. Does it appear that the observed value of this statistic in the actual study would be unlikely to occur if there really were no genuine effect of the metal band? Explain how you could tell from the dot plot of class simulation results. The observed sample statistic from the problem, 0.3, did not occur very often in our simulation. The simulation results on the right show that the difference of 0.3 or higher only occurred 4 out of 42 times. So since the difference, the 0.3, only occurred 4 out of 42 times, or 9.5% of the time for the simulations on the screen, it seems unlikely to occur if the metal bands do not affect penguin survival. So if something happens less than 10% of the time, that would be unlikely. Our simulation assumes that the metal bands do not affect penguin survival. There are always limitations of a tactile simulation. The tactile or hands-on simulation is used to develop an understanding of what it means to simulate that the null hypothesis is true. So remember, we are assuming that there's no association between the variables. Now that we understand how the simulation works, we will use an applet to run 10,000 more simulations, then analyze the results. So in the next video, we'll learn how to use the multiple proportions applet to complete the simulation-based approach used to carry out a test of significance when comparing 2 proportions. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching.